My name is Ricky Rainey, and this is Franklin Boulevard Media. So I was born in Gastonia, North Carolina in June 29th, 1983. Been around the world, but this is home. This is home. I'm from right down the street, Bradford Heights Road. Born and raised, the BHP, Bradford Heights Posse, if you need to know the abbreviations. Gastonia, man, it's just been home. Everybody knows everybody. Literally, I knew every mom, every dad in each house down the road. Stayed out playing sports till the lights came on, and it was it's a lot different from how it is now for this generation. But yeah, everybody was chill. Everybody knew everybody. So that really hasn't changed much. We just got older. I started my martial arts at Burris Academy. It was Taekwondo school right there in old Gastonia. Started there, yeah, and then went to wrestling. That was Mr. Hess and Coach Thunderbird. I was a Holbrook Lion. In junior high, I played defensive end. Yeah, I played defensive end in high school and ended up transferring and moving to linebacker as I got a little older. I went and played at Ashbrook. Yeah, I did good there. I was like defensive player of the year, tight end of the year, all conference tight end. Yeah, I played a lot of positions. Kickoff return. I went to Western. I wanted to go to App, but they couldn't handle me having me. So yeah, by the way, we beat them my last year because they didn't recruit me. So I played 3 years, and then I set out my last year because, I did the NFL the Combine or whatever it's called, and yeah, they made me shorter, they made me slower, and then the people that was our top players on the team was faster, stronger than me, and they didn't even get looked at. So I'm like, I'm just gonna put it all together. I'm probably not gonna make it to the NFL like I was hoping. So I just enjoyed my last semester at school and became homecoming king. I was homecoming king my last year at Western. So I was still on the field, just not getting hit. I graduated with a just communication broad. It was radio. I was in radio and a marketing minor. So I use that a little bit now. After that, I went home and was lost. I was like, so I thought I was supposed to get a great job after college, but turns out you get the same job as people in high school. They just got they got a head start. Now they're your manager and your supervisor. It's like, wow. I spent all that money to be behind, but I wouldn't change my experience going to Western, being able to be on my own and, make friends and live how I wanted to for that moment, because, it's fine to stay at home if you have to. Any kind of adventure outside of home, you can always bring that experience back. So I graduated in 2006. I took my time. So I graduated in 2006, and then I worked at the bank for like 4 years. Yeah, before I started my fight career. It was terrible. Well, it's not for everybody. Yeah. So I started, when I was still at the bank, I started training. I started first at Ryan Hoover's down here. Just started training just to get used to it. It was about 2009. Did a little bit of training, then they told me to go to the Tough Gym. So that's when I met Phil and all them with the Renegade. Yeah, Renegade fight. It wasn't Fight System yet. Renegade off of Ozark. Yeah, man, we sparred. First day I got there, they were like, "So you want to fight?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to get into it." They're like, "Get in the ring, put the gloves on, full speed, go." That day, but it'll let you know if it probably wasn't best for business, but it'll let you know if you really want to fight. So I started doing that and kept training. We'd probably spar like six days a week. So I'm like, man, I might as well start fighting since I'm getting fights every day. Started doing that, and turns out I was just doing it to see how it would do, and then it turns out I was good at it. So I just kept going and was with that team for about 7-8 years. We switched their locations and things, and yeah, it went well for me. So I just kept with it, and then I always wanted to be a martial arts teacher. So once I had that, I had the plan A was to do as good as I could doing this, and then to show people I could do it, then I could teach it. So that's basically the path I took. You got to do 5 fights as an amateur in North Carolina. Okay. So I did 5 fights. Maybe got like 3 knockouts out of the 5, and then I went pro after that. So did the 5 fights maybe in a year and a half. Maybe did the 5 fights, and then went pro. Maybe by my 5th fight, I was fighting on the regional circuit, and yeah, they were starting to record it by the 5th fight. Yeah, so that was regional circuit. That was XFC. XFC, yeah. It was based out of Florida. I did, let's see, how many fights? I did like 4 or 5 fights with them. And then I went to Bellator after that. Bellator is national. I fought some pretty high-level people on that. Well, actually, very high-level people. So it just depended on my opponent, really, and their style. Like, so some fights were sort of like, it was a level up. None of them was really like the regional circuit. As I went up, it got a little harder. People had more credentials and, way more fights than I knew until they come on the Jumbotron and like, oh, nigga had 50 fights. I'm like, nobody wanted to tell me that before. Before we about to fight. I just got to hear it. I got to look up the Jumbotron like, oh, nobody told me that. Okay, so here we go. My first fight in Bellator was in Temecula, which wasn't a big crowd. It was a little crowd. And then I fought on the pay-per-view against Paige. And I walked out there, and it was like, I looked up, and it was like the stadium it was like being in Charlotte Arena, or maybe bigger. And like, I'm just walking out and just like, oh my God, it's people way up there, and they actually in the seats. So I think that was Bellator's first pay-per-view. So that sort of got to me a little bit. And then, I didn't know a lot about this crazy, weird-ass fighter I was about to fight. So I'm like, yeah, he caught me. I got beat up that day. But I learned a lot from it. I changed my style after that loss. So it's not like you just get beat up and don't learn something. If you don't learn nothing, then what we doing? But yeah, so my style changed from there. Then I won maybe three fights after that with my new style, and then lost one I should have won. And then after that, I was really considering retiring. I was probably about 35 by then. I really only expect to fight till 34. But I still had it in me. But I did it. Then I got the call. My manager had a lot of fighters in UFC, and so he was like, I'm gonna get you in the UFC. I'm like, you know what? I go to the UFC. Yeah, because for some reason, it's 2 different worlds from Bellator to UFC. Like, oh man, I took them fights early. It was like a year. Yeah, it was a year. They put me in, put me out. Yeah, so after UFC, I wasn't done. Yeah, so I took a trip to Thailand, trained over there, and I wasn't planning on fighting when I went, but I'm like, shoot, I flew 20 hours, then 6 more on another flight. So I'm like, okay, well, I might as well fight while we're here. So I did that fight, learned the little Thailand dance, the wakru, the culture. It was nice. And then I fought, and I didn't really know I was fighting for a belt until they put the belt up. I'm like, oh. I just got my ass beat twice. I'm about to get this belt. So I fought, and I dropped that dude in the first round. Won that belt. It was fun. It's fun. I learned a lot about Muay Thai, and I like to know all the striking I can. So I went over there and learned that, and then brought back the knowledge, taught a seminar or 2, and then I started kickboxing. I did a few kickboxing matches. I'm teaching martial arts, basically striking. I know all that other stuff, but you can go somewhere for that. I seen in the right direction. But yeah, I teach martial arts, Sniper Striking Syndicate. I teach it at Luray, and I didn't realize after all the knowledge that that I start putting out, I'm like, man, why didn't I know all this when I was fighting? But it's because I never put the breakdown to what I was doing. I was just doing it, you know. I didn't have to break it down for somebody that didn't know it to understand. So the more that I break it down, it's like, fuck, why didn't I know this when I was fighting? But that's how life go. Like, why didn't I know this when I was younger? It's just how it goes. So now I'm just training people. We got a few fighters. You know, I'm very picky with who I help because I've been around a lot of bullshit fighters. So I don't want my time wasted. So I only have like 2 or 3 that I deal with, like, and that's it. And I'm happy with that. I mean, for the city, I mean, just for the people in general, I feel like, I mean, if they came to me or something, I feel like working out is pretty much as we get older. I don't really deal with kids. I mean, I can, but I mean, a kid can go to a class and start traditional martial arts and learn compared to coming to me and learning how to slip and do all this stuff and do all this. Just make sure they can stay consistent and enjoy it. Most people do stuff and they never enjoy it, so they stop doing it, including exercise. Like, if you don't know what you're doing, you just out here like, I hate it. But if you can get with a group of people that's doing the shit, they all hate it together, and now y'all doing it together, and then you're getting the results, you know? So, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like people just gotta take accountability. It's not easy, but if you can find a good group of people and people that's trying to evolve in life, you don't have to make big evolutionary steps. Just, I'm trying to be better than I was yesterday. Not like a bunch of money and I'm not big on a bunch of money and trying to be extravagant. I think health and anything is way more important than a bunch of money, because you can still die with that money. You can go to my Instagram and talk to me. It's just Ricky Rainey, or you can go to the Facebook, or you can come to Luray. I got cards and things like that you can contact me. But I mean, really, I just rather I do seminars and things, but I rather deal with 30 and up, really. 20, you can be 20, you can be a teenager, but I ain't worried about them young kids. I'm really worried about keeping people my age healthy and going forward. And plus, I can talk all the shit I want to adults, because y'all been bullshitting your whole life. So, yeah, it's time for somebody to help you know. Like, I can't say that to a kid. Like, hey, kid, quit bullshitting. Nah, yeah. I like to be open, because I'm not a good liar. I always say this to people. Everybody you taking care of is fine because you're taking care of them. But for people to get the best out of you, you have to be your best. So you can't overextend yourself, running yourself thin with everybody, but then you feel like shit because you're going to put shit off on the people you're trying to love, you know? So if you're not happy, first off, make sure you happy. It ain't selfish. God damn it. You got to be able to take care of yourself. It ain't selfish. They got to be able to understand this, what you need to be happy, you know? So healthy, happy, and, you know, just find balance in life. If you running too much all over the place, you're never going to find balance. Me, I'm a professional napper. So everybody be like, do you need more clients? I really don't. I really need my naps. Because if I don't have them, I'm not going to be the same person. So I like to, I think people need to find balance with work and time to decompress, so they're not so stressful and bringing that energy to other people. Yeah, just balance.